Welcome back to more Pikmin 2! Last time, we got through the 4th row of challenges, so this time, we're moving on to the Rumbling Grotto. Well, that's some amazing luck. The key is right behind the starting area. Obviously, we don't know where the exit's going to show up, and we have like creeping chrysanthemums and cloaking baronets and all these walls to get through. So we are definitely not out of the woods yet. But yeah, I definitely, I'm not opposed to having the key right by the starting area, like this. A hole that continues deeper underground has opened. Journey deeper for more treasures. So, I think it's over in this area, behind this, like, this wall here. So instead of taking all the Pikmin to break the wall, because there are a ton of enemies right by the wall and they might get picked off, if we try to break the wall, we'll simply go around to the exit. For our second and final floor of this challenge, we have a large open arena with a pileated snagret. It definitely can catch you off guard as soon as you land on the floor because it can definitely appear basically instantaneously. I'm going to try something very risky here. I'm going to petrify it like this and toss Pikmin up to its head. I feel like I normally wouldn't try this, but because we do have a time limit, I definitely don't want to take too much time here. Not that, like, we don't have a ton of time remaining, but just to try to speed this up a little bit. We're actually down to our final bitter spray though, so we won't be able to pull this off too many times. I suppose if you wanted to take a lot of risks, you could hypothetically toss Pikmin up to its head at any time. But that is definitely very dangerous, and I can't exactly recommend trying that while it's, like, you know, not stunned, essentially. We're actually flying through this fight surprisingly quickly. It's actually getting stuck a lot, which is very lucky. I'm actually going to toss Pikmin because I feel like swarming has not exactly been working super well in the past, so yeah, let's try tossing. In general, I feel like there are merits to both methods, depending on the enemy. For enemies like snagrets, where their weak point is like a very specific area, I definitely feel like swarming sometimes causes problems of like attacking the body, which isn't its weak point. So tossing Pikmin can be more efficient sometimes than swarming. So yeah, now we have to wait until it gets stuck again. Yet again, it has like a sliver of health, but that should be enough to finish it off. And that concludes this cavern. Overall, that wasn't too bad on the previous floor. If we had gone after more of the treasures, we definitely would have had to fight a lot more enemies, but overall, that went surprisingly well. Look, the ground is cracked, indicating an inactive geyser. Have your Pikmin dig here. Once again, we might as well use a spicy spray since we have a bunch to speed this up. I'll be honest, I'm still kind of amazed at how quickly that snagret fight went. Normally, the pileated snagrets give me a lot of trouble by comparison. Our next challenge is the subterranean lair. In terms of completing stages without losing any Pikmin, I think this is easily the toughest one we've seen so far, because we actually have to fight multiple Bulbears in this, like, completely open area. And we also don't have much time. So my best advice would be to try to get the enemies to group up a bit, and then try to use a bitter spray. I also would recommend using a spicy spray, but I actually kind of forgot, to be honest. Let's try to take out the dwarf Bulbears as quickly as possible, like so, and now we can resume worrying about the adult Bulbears. I'm going to try to get them to kind of group up a little bit, and then try to petrify both with our remaining bitter spray. Sadly, the dwarf Bulbear is still active, so let's try to defeat that one right away, and try to defeat one of the Bulbears. At this point, I think we should be able to defeat it with the spicy spray Pikmin if we toss fast enough, like so. But again, Bulbears do regenerate health, so if you're worried about collecting treasure, you definitely want to carry it back to the research pod as well. Look, the ground is cracked, indicating an inactive geyser. Have your Pikmin dig here. I'll be honest, I completely lost track of what attempt number this is. It has to be at least 10. But yeah, I almost feel like this challenge wouldn't be too terrible. Like, if you're not concerned about keeping all of your Pikmin alive, but yeah, if you're trying to get through this without losing any Pikmin, it is definitely an ordeal. You know, 10 tries might sound like a lot, but I'm actually surprised it didn't take me more attempts. So our next challenge is the Hidden Garden. This is definitely one of the most unique challenge levels, because we don't actually start with Pikmin. Instead, we have two Bulbmen. So this actually isn't my first attempt at this challenge, not because there's any actual danger, because the only enemies are Skitterleaves and the unmarked Spectralids that can't harm Pikmin, but basically I got a level layout where I wasn't able to actually find the exit after finding the key, so I ended up having to restart. So one problem with the Skitterleaves is, one, they're very fast, so landing a direct hit can be difficult, and also sometimes they're so camouflaged that the Pikmin won't actually attack right away. We also have Queen Candy Pop Buds, so we can actually grow more Pikmin, which is good because we'll definitely need Pikmin to carry back the key a little bit faster, and also break open the geyser a little bit faster, otherwise that would take a long time with two Bulbmen. Sometimes in this game, you have to kind of like weigh how much certain actions will take. Like, technically, you have to take time to actually grow Pikmin, but in a lot of cases, it is still faster to stop and grow Pikmin, rather than you know, try to break open a geyser with only 2 Pikmin. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting, like, almost, yeah, it's a bit of time management. And in some ways, I actually like the challenge mode a lot because of that, because it kind of forces you to have to time manage in the caves, which you actually don't have to do in the main game. Also, I have no clue how close the key is to the escape pod. I can see the escape pod from here, but not the key. I actually can see it, like through the wall here, so it looks like it's almost back. 20 Pikmin should be enough to break open the exit, again, if we can actually find it quickly enough this time. Look, the ground is cracked, indicating an inactive geyser. Have your Pikmin dig here. I think I know where that is. It's like connected to one of these pipes. So to actually get there, I think we have to basically, I think we have to cut through this pipe over here. So yeah, this should drop us off right there, and I can actually see the geyser from here. In hindsight, I actually think I know where the geyser actually was in the previous attempt, and it was actually really easy to reach, but I went through the pipe and thus had to loop all the way around, so yeah, that took a bit. But yeah, overall this is actually a very unique challenge, a very fun challenge, well, without being overly difficult. I still can't believe out of all the challenges so far that this is one that I had to reset, even if it wasn't for actually losing Pikmin directly. Next up, we have the Abduction Den. So we have a ton of snitch bugs, as the name would imply, along with a greater jelly float. I'm going to take a bit of a gamble here and assume that the jelly float is the one with the treasure, because it definitely seems to be the enemy that would most likely have it, and it does. Again, sometimes you can kind of gauge which enemy probably will have the treasure based on like if it's the only enemy of that type on the floor. Look, the ground is cracked, indicating an inactive geyser. Have your Pikmin dig here. Also, one thing worth mentioning is I'm pretty sure if a Pikmin is partially buried, like from the snitch bugs, you actually do need to retrieve them before leaving, because I think that will still count as losing a Pikmin. Despite being way scarier, that challenge somehow took me a lot less time than the previous one. And the last challenge on this row is the Secret Testing Range. After numerous attempts at this particular challenge, I think this is another one of the toughest ones to get through without losing any Pikmin. This one is actually pretty ridiculous in terms of difficulty. First of all, we have to fight 2 Gatling Groinks. Luckily, in this particular floor layout, they were actually far apart enough that we are able to fight them individually. We don't have to fight both of them together, because that would definitely make this a lot more challenging. But there are multiple floors to this particular challenge, and this is the easy part. A hole that continues deeper underground has opened. Journey deeper for more treasures. And if that wasn't bad enough, for the final floor, we have to fight another Manet Legs. This is another one that's by water, similar to the Hole of Heroes. I think it might be a very comparable floor layout other than the addition of like additional hazards like poison and fire. Like before, I definitely want to lure it over land so we have a slightly easier time of fighting it. Let's use the yellow Pikmin because it can actually reach it right away other than actually having a hard time cycling over to the yellow Pikmin. So let's make a run for it. Luckily, we were able to get away in time. It does have slightly limited range, but if a Pikmin falls behind, they're basically doomed because it will probably get hit by one of the blasts. Let's try to use yellow Pikmin. I threw one straight into the water, which isn't great. Alright, now that it's petrified, let's try to quickly deal as much damage as possible, speed this along, and it will definitely start firing again now, so let's head over here. The purple Pikmin are definitely the most at risk because of their slow running speed. I actually might rethink my strategy for this. I might just use yellow Pikmin, because they can reach more easily. But now it's over water, which makes this difficult. But yeah, this is definitely one of those floors where it's just very difficult to figure out what the best course of action is, because of, like, fighting it under, like, not ideal conditions, basically. Basically, I feel like whenever it has to twist to knock off Pikmin, that's usually when it'll start firing again. Again, also these walls aren't super tall, so be careful about that. Because if a Pikmin like is near the top of the wall, they could easily get clipped by a blast. So yeah, a lot can go wrong in this fight. So yeah, just basically chip away at it and then retreat to safety. Luckily, these walls over here are tall enough to withstand a lot of the blasts. But still, I definitely wouldn't take too many chances of like being too close to it, even if there is a short wall in front. And yeah, it's also just a risk of like potentially throwing Pikmin into the water, which is also not great. So yeah, a ton can go wrong on this floor, and that's why I do feel like this is probably one of the worst floors to get through. And also, again, you are still timed, so you have the added stress of getting through this with a time limit. I definitely wouldn't recommend fighting it with all your Pikmin. Maybe just use like a small group to make things a little bit easier to manage. Like to maneuver all of your Pikmin, basically. Yeah, like take a smaller group. We're almost there. I almost thought it could reach us, so I decided to back up a little bit more. Again, it has surprisingly good range, so I do recommend not underestimating that aspect of this fight, because again, it can reach you from far, far away. So yeah, also kind of stay on the move too, because that also makes it harder for it to attack you if you keep moving. That was very close. I'm definitely taking too many chances to try to get through this a little bit faster. Again, I would definitely recommend actually going through this fight a lot more slowly than this and not taking so many risks, because yeah, we definitely had a lot of close calls there. But we are finally done with this cavern, or this challenge. That definitely took a very long time. I feel like it took longer than the ball bear one, partly just because that's actually one floor, while this is like two very, very dangerous floors. So yeah, this did take longer, I think. Look, the ground is cracked, indicating an inactive geyser. Have your Pikmin dig here. First of all, let's take out the electricity so the other Pikmin can safely work on this. And let's finally get the heck out of this particular challenge. I am definitely glad to be done with that challenge. That was one I was definitely dreading. Alright, so there's actually only one row left, but I actually don't know if we have time for this particular one, so let's jump ahead to the Cave of Pain. As the name would suggest, this is a very dangerous challenge. We have a volatile Dweevil, we have a hairy Bulborb falling from the sky, we have boulders, we have more volatile Dweevils, we have a fiery Bulblax. So yeah, it definitely lives up to its name. We have a bitter spray, so let's actually use it to take out the fiery Bulblax, because I do feel like of the two Bulborbs here, that is definitely the scarier of the two to try to fight. And I think we'll much more easily be able to take out the hairy Bulborb without using a bitter spray. We also have a Dweevil. This is an electric one, which is definitely not great with only red Pikmin. We also have another volatile Dweevil. I was hoping it would actually move close enough to be able to take out this enemy, but it actually wasn't close enough. Once this is a little bit closer, we'll drop it and then deal with the hairy Bulborb. Again, I'm not the most confident about button mashing with the Wii Remote, but we got through that without too much trouble, thankfully. And let's hope that was actually the last of like the falling hazards, because other than that, we should be able to carry this back relatively safely, or not. Definitely need to run and let the enemies deal with themselves, basically. Oh wow, that one actually picked up the Bulborb. That actually would have been very convenient, because then we wouldn't have to worry about it getting in the way, but we did still defeat it. Look, the ground is cracked, indicating an inactive geyser. Have your Pikmin dig here. So it looks like the geyser is on the other side of this area, unfortunately. But luckily all of the bomb enemies are have been dealt with, so it's a straight shot to the exit. I am definitely noticing that the final challenges are way more stressful than the earlier ones. So, with that out of the way, we only have 4 more challenges on this row. In theory, this won't be too terrible. I actually feel like we've gone through the worst challenges already, but that definitely doesn't mean we'll have an easy time with the remaining 4. But we'll have to see how that goes next time. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Pikmin 2.